so excited today to be engaging with Sabrina Matthee from Stellenbosch University to explore the meaningful and economically progressive work they do through YEP. YEP, or YEP, through Stellenbosch University, empowers high school learners by teaching them entrepreneurial skills and encouraging them to develop ideas that can benefit their communities. Sabrina is a 29-year-old lecturer in the Business Management Department, EMS faculty at Stellenbosch University. She completed her Master of Commerce, cum laude, in 2023. She has a deep passion for entrepreneurial development, and her innovative approach and commitment to fostering entrepreneurial skills in youth has earned her a recognition as an award-winning educator. Sabrina's research interests includes women, small business development, and innovation in South Africa. In her free time, Sabrina enjoys hiking and traveling the world. This is my Entrepreneurship Journey podcast. I'm Difua Machele, and welcome. Sabrina, thank you for coming to the podcast. I know you have a quite busy schedule, but just set time aside for us. Thank you for coming on here, and welcome.
Thank you so much for the invite. It's a massive honor for us to share a bit about our story and to be here today. So thank you so much.
Sabrina, can you tell us about the Young Entrepreneurship Program at Stellenbosch University?
Yeah, so the Young Entrepreneurship Project, also referred to as YEP, is a program that's aimed at training 40 to 60 grade 10 to 11 learners from local high schools in the Stellenbosch area. The purpose of the project is to give learners from local high school exposure to entrepreneurial activities, Stellenbosch University itself, and also to build networks. So by the end of the week, learners would have identified a viable business opportunity, completed a business plan, and then also presented to a panel of judges. The group with the most feasible idea is crowned as the winners and also received seed funding to launch their businesses, which is known as Phase 1, as well as mentorship post the competition known as Phase 2.
Mm-hmm. And this mentorship, does it carry on even after they receive the seed funding?
So that is very much dependent on the nature of request. So let's say it is mentorship and we have access to resources in terms of individual who can provide mentorship. We offer that. If it's additional funding, that is also dependent on whether we have extra funds available, also how the funds will be allocated. But it really does depend on the nature of the project. So ideally in Phase 1, it's the competition and the seed funding that we give. And then Phase 2 is helping them implement the business idea by providing mentorship and also resources we have available. But that's very much dependent on the nature of the resources, which is in question.
Yeah, this is quite interesting. And how did it come about? YEP.
So YEP is actually the brainchild of my colleague and project leader out of Neetling. And so this project started around COVID, and there was various iterations of it. But like I said, it's still very much a pilot project back then. So it took on it was in different phases at least. So we had online versions. They had a smaller in-person phase or also iteration thereof. So it started back then. But when I joined the university in 2022, that's when I actively started to get involved with YEP, how it's known today, in-person project on Stellenbosch University's premises.
Yeah. I know we spoke about the skills, the mentorship, but if we can go through it again, the kind of skills these young people are equipped with.
Yeah, so firstly, we help them to identify business opportunities. They help, it also helps them to work in teams or groups, because they do not only work with scholars from their own schools, but also learners from different schools. Problem solving, of course, identifying problems or business opportunities in the community, and then also finding creative solutions. So there's also creative thinking, communication skills, presentation skills, technical skills, and then also time management skills, because in a week they only have a set amount of time for working in groups, learning how to do presentations, technical skills, how to work on computers, and then also communication skills, how to pitch, how to communicate effectively, and also to carry over the message or convey the message effectively.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what is the selection criteria for these pupils to qualify?
So there isn't really a selection criteria. We try to keep the barriers as low as possible, specifically or for the reason that it's scholars that are in impoverished areas. And so creating high barriers to entry would also just to reduce the pool of learners that we get to work with. And the main idea is exposing these learners from disadvantaged areas that it's very easy for us to identify problems, and problems are all around us. How can we find creative solutions to address these problems? So the only criteria as such is that must be grade 10 to 11 learners that are interested in starting their own business. These individuals could be those who have, let's say, agriculture or agri-science. It could be your typical business EMS students. It could be your accounting students. But really just it's curious young minds that we aim to target with this project.
Oh, now that's lovely. Currently, which schools are participating on the year program?
So in 2022, when we did the initial reaching out to different schools, we had a whole list of schools in Stellenbosch that we were targeting. But in 2023, when we actually had the year project, we were working with Stellenbosch High School. We were working with Makapula. We were working with Clutersville and also Lukhof. So those were the 4 high schools that we were working with.
And when the program started, Sabrina, how was the reception and uptake into the program? Did people really understand it?
No. So initially, there was a lot of skepticism around the project, or when we first reached out to different schools, because they didn't understand the purpose of the project. They didn't understand what was expected of them. Because the project also heavily relies on schools and teachers to buy into the project, we needed to convince them that the purpose of the project is beneficial to schools and also to learners, because we know that the curriculum of schools are already jam-packed. And so we needed to convey the message of how this project would be beneficial and would be complementary to what is being done in schools. And so the whole of 2022, I was building relationships with various schools, whether that was teachers, HODs, or school principals. And so by the end of 2022, I've managed to build great relationships with 4 different schools. Some of these we had prior relationships with. And so initially, as with all relationships, there needs to be trust established. Both parties need to know what is in it for them, for lack of a better word. And as time proceeded, they understood what the purpose of the project is, and we got more support and buy-in from those stakeholders.
Yeah, as you've already mentioned that YEP focuses on the unique social challenges these children will identify in their communities. What are the examples of those that became full-on businesses?
Yeah, so some of the ideas that emerged from the YEP program was learners identified the challenges they had with load shedding and also how that impacted the ability of them to study or the quality of their studies. And so one of them created a light bulb in a glass holder or glass jar. And so that would provide a sense of light for them to continue with their homework or to study for examinations. Then another school also identified a tutoring opportunity or tutoring program. And so they found that in this school, there's one specific subject that students struggle with. And so they thought of the idea of a tutoring program. So it has a cascading effect where we see grade 10s with tutor grade 10s, 10s with tutor grade 8s. And so in that way, there's a buddy tutoring system. And we often find that peer learning also is very beneficial to students because they often speak the same language and get to understand or illustrate their their understanding of the content of the learning material. And so that is the tutoring program we had. Then another school had a school desk repair. And so this particular school identified that they do not have sufficient desks for learners to sit on. And so what they would do is they would repair the desks. And so in that way, they would also provide enough school desks for learners to sit on. And while we might think that this idea is not groundbreaking, it does bring back a sense of dignity to learners to sit at school and to receive education. And so that was one of the ideas that was really obviously very viable. It's something that you could easily execute, and it also enhances the level and the quality of education a learner receives because of something very as simple as sitting at a desk and focusing on the learning material that's being prescribed. And then prior to my joining of YEP, there was also a farming business that got launched. So the school started a farming or agricultural business at school. So they would buy different seeds and they would plant tomatoes, lettuce, carrots, and a whole array of vegetables. They would then harvest the crop, sell it to the community or right at school, and the money would be invested back into the school.
This is amazing work. Do you think that youth that have entrepreneurship experience have a better chance of being successful entrepreneurs than those that started late in life?
Yes, definitely. I believe you can compare it to any experience in which you had prior exposure. And I like using the example of a bicycle. So let's think about it. Imagine at 14 years old, you are now told to ride a bicycle, but you've never ever in your entire life been on a bicycle. You have not even seen a bicycle. And so similarly, if students get exposed to entrepreneurial activities, it now gives them exposure to various aspects of entrepreneurship. So let's say identifying business opportunities, then sifting through those ideas to find the most viable business opportunity, looking to gather resources for that identified business opportunity, and then also organizing those resources to execute the business and to launch the business. And so research also tells us that when students or when individuals have exposure to either entrepreneurship education, whether they have experience in entrepreneurial ventures, so whether it's starting your own lemonade stand or growing your own crop, or even having family members that act as role models, whether it's friends or family or parents, them being exposed to these three facets would give them a better exposure or better success to entrepreneurship than those who started later in life.
Yeah. And you know, there is a rise in unemployment rate. Currently in 2024, Stats SA records that it is over 45% youth unemployment rate. How has the impact and outlook been, seeing the youth being developed to be young entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so there's a harsh reality that faces all South Africans, whether you're a graduate, whether you're unemployed. We are aware that South Africa has severe socioeconomic problems. And so we also have the after effects of COVID-19 pandemic still. We have a load shedding problem in South Africa. We have deteriorating transport. Our public infrastructure system is not particularly great, service delivery, and also the lack of a favorable environment in which we can create and support business startups. However, given these challenges, we as South Africans best know and understand these challenges that we face. Some of us live in these conditions and experience them to a greater extent. And so when we realize that we understand these challenges best, we can take control of our own futures and create a better South Africa. So it's easy for us to identify all of these problems and challenges. But if we change our thinking and if we have a paradigm shift in our minds about understanding there are problems, but moreover finding solutions to these problems, that is where our power lies, and that is when we can truly make a bigger change and impact in our economy and also in our societies.
That's quite important, Sabrina. And how is South Africa currently faring in terms of entrepreneurship in comparison with other countries?
So according to the 2023 GEM SA report, South Africa's early stage entrepreneurial activity has declined to below pre-pandemic levels, and fewer people than ever before are now considering to start new business. So that means individuals' intention or intent to start a business is now considerably low. And that is because of various reasons, but one particularly, our enabling environment for new businesses to start up is not high enough. And so there's no motivation for these individuals to start businesses because of inability to get access to capital, high interest. We look at lots of red tape for small businesses. And so this once again also highlights the importance of teaching or exposing young individuals to entrepreneurship from a very young age, to show them this is the current reality. These are the socioeconomic challenges we face. The power lies with us to start thinking about how we can find creative solutions to address these problems. However, that being said, we also need to get various stakeholders such as government and private institutions to create favorable environments for us to start small businesses and also to grow these small businesses. So it's not enough to just start them, because we can create hundreds and thousands of small businesses, but to ensure the sustainability, we also need to ensure various stakeholders, government in particular, how can we create favorable conditions for small, medium, micro, and enterprises to grow.
You know, in the quest for YEP to give these people's economic independence, in the article I read, it was written that these students, it's like a newfound sense of purpose. They visit the university campus for the first time to interact with, engage with their mentors there. How has that been, you seeing it unfold?
Yeah, and so once again, the reality of it is that when we look at the pool of students that we draw or we attract to the program, the reality is that only X amount of them will join Stellenbosch University or will join university in general. And that might be for various reasons. And so when we give them access to, or when we introduce them to the YEP program and to Stellenbosch University, it now gives them some exposure to what it can be expected at Stellenbosch University, what it would look like for them. So when they get here the first time, it's not something completely new. And once again, it speaks to that thing about prior exposure. And so it really just also brings them into, it draws them to the university as such, and it just brings the two entities together. So we are now directly reaching out to our communities, but also bringing them to the university to give them that exposure of the university.
Amazing. Let's talk about the Social Impact Award that you and Adolf Neethling received on behalf of YEP. How has that been, and has it brought any impact so far?
Yes, of course. So when we got the award, we were absolutely elated about it. It also shows that it shows us that the project that we're running, that there's some value to what we're doing, that it truly makes an impact in the community. We've now been recognized by our peers and our colleagues, and so the department and the faculty or the institution as a whole, but it now also shines light on what we're doing. With that, it means that we now get access to a greater pool of resources. Yes. We want people want buy-in into the project. They want to get involved in the project. So really the award does, it just affirms the value of YEP. It also attracts greater resources to the project, and it also just makes the project for us so much easier to roll out, because this project is a social impact initiative of Adolf Neethling and myself. So that means we do it in our personal capacity. We have to find own funding for the project, and any other resources that we require is based on the sponsorships or donations that we receive.
Yeah. If there are any external stakeholders out there listening to us right now who would really like to participate into the program one way or another, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, that would be amazing. So we always welcome any support and any help. So they could either reach out to me via LinkedIn, or they could drop me an email. And so you have my details. It's just sm@sun.ac.za. So really the support could either be in phase 1, so whether that is monetary support for us to help execute the program, or whether that is seed capital that we give to the winning team. It could be phase 2 when they want to provide mentorship, or even in phase 1 if they would like to be part of the selection panel or the judging panel. So really it's open to the stakeholder to determine how they would like to assist.
Yes, amazing. Well, in closing, Sabrina, what is your favorite book that you can share with us, or a book you've read that made an impact in your life?
Yes, so my favorite book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a magical fable about following your dreams. And so this book I've read about 3 times since getting it last year, and I know I'm a bit late to add to reading this specific book because it's been around for such a long time.
Yes.
But this book has really been the number 1 book on my list so far. And this book is about finding your personal legend. That is something deep within that you find within yourself through introspection. This could be a specific goal that you have identified for your life, whether it's starting a business, getting the dream job that you've always wanted to, solving some kind of social issues. And so this book also teaches us it's not necessarily about the destination, but rather the journey to that destination. It's the people you meet, the life lessons you learn, the challenges you meet, but also how you react or respond to these challenges that come along your way. And then also the book teaches us that sometimes the things that we look for are right within or it's close by us. And so sometimes we tend to think that we have to go to a particular point to find something, but with a bit of introspection, it is right within us or right within ourselves.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that. This is also my favorite book, coincidentally. Thank you for highlighting that. There is a quote in the book that says, wherever your heart is, there you will find your treasure. It speaks to what you've just said, that we sometimes have to look within, and there we'll find our answers and follow our dreams from deep within our hearts.
Yeah. We have good taste.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, Sabrina, for this exceptional altruistic work that you and Adolphe are doing. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough, and we are very grateful that you gave us time to come to the podcast to highlight this amazing work Stellenbosch University and the YEP program is on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity once again. We really do appreciate it, and we look forward to being in touch with you.
Hey, Mesh podcast community. I would like to take this moment to express my sincere gratitude for your support and engagement with our podcast. If you enjoy our show and find value in the insights shared here, I kindly invite you to click the follow or subscribe button on your podcast platform. By doing so, you will ensure that you never miss an episode and stay updated with our latest content. Following or subscribing to our podcast is a simple yet meaningful way to stay connected and be part of our growing community. Your support and engagement are crucial in shaping the future of this podcast. So, by clicking that follow button, you not only demonstrate your enthusiasm for the content we create here, but you also contribute to our mission of fostering insightful conversations and personal growth. So if you are ready to join us on this journey, please take a moment to click that follow or subscribe button. We genuinely appreciate your support. Thank you for being part of our community. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and let's keep exploring together.